from where we sit is gorgeous, even if we don't fit inside your little portrait. The big picture is enormous, so we don't even have to fit. We after it, true purpose, yeah, we have to get. We mastered it, reporting it live from Black Pew, discussing politics, the culture, and laughing at you. Cause you don't understand the viewpoint, don't mean you up by a few points. You just ain't hip to these new joints we on. The world says to follow they pitch, we set the tone, then we knock it over the fence. Oh yes, it's gone. Them haters screaming loud from the bench. They get the bat and try to copy technique, but they miss the point that I mentioned earlier. I see that you observing the way I strangle this beat. Oh yeah, I'm a murderer. Enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
Black Pew Podcast. We are in the middle of a conversation. Thank y'all for tuning in. We are going to keep it going. The whole crew is here except for Kendra?
Lamar.
I was thinking it. It's funny you said it.
Don't kill.
But we're going to keep it moving. We got topics all over the place today. We talking about dating. Yeah. We were just talking about dating.
Yeah,
and
dating apps.
People are talking about the apps.
And how not to be a Joe Budden.
But I said I was a really good dater. I was a professional dater.
Dang.
And but I mean, it's not like you don't look for like relationships, but like on a date, I'm a pretty good person to be on a date with.
So am I.
But you're gauging yourself though too.
No.
Time out. So what you're saying, you are a career friend. That's pretty much what you're saying. If you're a good dater, you're a career friend.
Like
No.
until I
Time out. Because this is what I'm
but
saying.
but I kind of agree to that point because if I'm not dating them like seriously, like if it's somebody like okay, we keep moving, like I'll switch gears. And I become yeah, but if it's friendship, like there's a couple friends of mine where we can go out now. We're not dating, so we can go out now and have fun because I'm like,
man, I struggle with that.
But you've dated them before.
But I've dated them before. But it was just like after a little bit, I was just like,
We're adults.
We're having a play date.
You got Lego friends.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
I ain't good at the
Come on,
platonic.
play PlayStation.
Yeah.
Heck nah. Let me see that controller. Okay, stop. Can we talk about something else?
Nah, we gotta stay here.
I know.
There's a whole lot
But
here.
it's a lot of people who don't know how to actually have fun on dates. They're so nervous.
Oh my gosh, I cannot stand the nervous people. I already give the disclaimer beforehand. I'm like, just think of me as your homegirl. Please just show up. Like, if you gotta have a shot, you gotta smoke something to feel comfortable. Because when I come to this, I'm like, game on, let's go. I'm like, Trey, I'm a professional dater. You're gonna have a good time, or money back guaranteed. Like, drinks on me if you don't have a great time. I don't think, I'd say like 8.5 out of 10 dates before we even get to like drink like food. They're like, oh, so what do you want to do next time? Yeah, because I'm coming in now. Kill it. It's just,
Damn.
yeah, there's nothing. I mean, we're going to laugh. We're going to talk. You know, I'm not going to make it super deep. You know, I don't need to know about your kids. I really don't care about your kids. Really don't. You got them. I got my kids. If we ever get to that place, you know, we're adults. We're going to take care of the kids.
So when did you start talking about that? At what stage did you start talking about that?
About children?
Children and just, like more.
That's more than dating right now.
That's like, I don't start talking about children until like you're looking for rings. What we gonna talk? I'm not. Real? Yeah, we don't, because I have a respect for children and at the age that they're at. I mean, there doesn't need to be a lot of emotional like, let me sit you down. My son is 6. We just went through this last week on Mother's Day, and he met his father's girlfriend. And I'm sitting there like, Joseph, it's okay. Like, I'm trying to talk him through it because, you know, he's all 6 and deep. He's like, Mommy, it's okay. I got this. I was like, boy, if you don't get here. But he understood that, like, there's 2 parties here. Mommy might feel some kind of way, though I didn't because I'm a G. But he was, you know, he was very sensitive to both parties' emotions. So, no, I think that kids are a lot more resilient than we give them credit for. And I don't believe that, like, I think everything is big if you make it big. If you make the whole kids thing big, you know, then it's everything. But if you're like, man, forget them kids, shoot, we about to have some fun.
I would
They'll
just
be
think
all right.
that it would be something that would come up because if it's like for me, it's a central piece in my life. So it's like I'm not trying to tell them all about my kids and where they go to school and all this and that, but I am gonna.
I think that's the part of it. I think that's the part of it. When you're talking about your kid, you keep it basic until you need to.
Yeah.
So if it's 2 months down the line, then you're like, okay, you share more about maybe your kid. He's got a condition where like sometimes he needs to go to the hospital. That's not something you really share on the first couple of dates.
Yeah.
Unless
You just share. I think you share that just when it gets ready to get serious, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Hey, just stop. This is a situation I have, and either you're in or you're out."
Yep. And I think like you keep a surface level for a reason. You don't be like, hey, I got 20 kids on the 5th date. They'd be like,
Oh no!
No.
I
First day, you need to let me know you got 20 kids. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I need to come up on the first one.
That's what I'm saying.
That's in the summary. When we in the introduction. 20
But no, I don't think it really matters.
No, that should be the first. That should be the headline.
that matters.
I mean, for me, some guy told me 8 kids. I was like, "Are you paying child support?" Like, I didn't see a future, so I was not,
I think for a guy it's a little different because we
Yeah.
we gotta we have to gauge a lot. And I think kids don't take you out of the picture no matter how many kids. I got a friend of mine. She has 5, and
Like, I'm out, huh? It's like how the picture goes out, like all of a sudden your picture
for a lot of
out.
people, the number of kids, it won't take them out of the picture. People will adjust. People will adjust.
I have 4 kids. I'd be like, I had 1 biological and 3 I adopted 12 or 13 years ago, and because for
gotta
me,
put
like
the
4 kids,
disclaimer
that
out.
seems
Yeah.
like a lot. Like, dang, what you been?
Single mom.
Yeah, I have
kids,
to like break down my whole situation.
But you really don't have to break it down. I guess in the picture, it'd be like, oh yeah, she's that. She done put some work in. She got her one real one.
Yeah.
She's just standing in the gap for the rest. For real.
You'd be surprised.
That's true.
People like, is their father Caucasian? Really? Stop it.
I mean, I gotta ask.
I'm just saying, that just lets you know that you should not be talking to that person right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because their education level is very, very bottom tier. Because if you can look at somebody and they are full-blown Caucasian and you looking at a black woman to even ask that question.
I've gotten it so many times. It is amazing.
Unless it was some type of science experiment created in a lab.
Stop it.
Well,
Stop
I'm just
it.
saying,
Well, because
my
sister, my mom I'm about as dark as her. Me and my mom are about the same complexion. My older sisters are mixed. Both of their dads are white. But you really couldn't tell. Like if you just look at my sister, you'd be like.
Sometimes that melanin just be deficient.
Sometimes it just doesn't soak in enough. Like the features.
Then are you really melanated?
The features. Because when people look at us, they be asking me. They'll see before they see my mom. They be like, "Are you adopted?" Because everybody else is lighter. But when they see my mom, they will look at me and be like, "Oh, you look just like her."
I mean, flip side, my mom, she, everybody in her family was brown, and then she had a light-skinned sister, and she was the only one. But, they came same bloodline, it happens, but, you ain't gonna get pale and, and then just being real. So when somebody looks at that, and they're saying that you gotta question that person's mentality, to even ask that question, like, they say there's no such thing as a stupid question, and I agree to this.
Yeah. You get dumb stuff like that. I've had guys, like, if they hear me say my kid's name in the background, like, they'll start asking me in next conversations, how's JoJo? And that kind of, sometimes it depends on the relationship. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, okay, I know I didn't tell you his name. You might have heard me say his name, but I don't know. It just, it's, way too familiar for me. I mean.
So how about this? What if your kids don't like the person?
Joseph is the most shady kid I know in the world. He will call you somebody else's name on purpose. He has said a guy that's been sitting in his company, and he says, "Mommy, I don't like his face." And I'm like, "What?" And it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you look at your kid and you say, I trust their intuition like some ethereal, mystic, my kid knows vibes and vibrations. I don't trust Joseph over trusting myself. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just know I have more wherewithal. I understand that Joseph's a kid and a lot of what he does is going to be manipulation and it's going to be, him wanting what he wants. And that's his family together.
Set to him.
Absolutely. Yes. Now his favorites are the Lego masters. If you don't come bearing gifts, Joseph's not messing with you. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't even pay attention to, I won't say that. I do not feed into a lot of Joseph's. I look at the whole situation, definitely, and I just trust myself. I don't bring anybody around who's not I don't think they're too legit to quit, I think we're more informed these days.
I think I've run into that maybe once, so I didn't really like it. Well, I think also you have to like the kid. There's been some kids I didn't like.
I know.
I'll say
wait. What age do you know that you don't like the kid?
Well,
I say as early as 3.
It's got to be early as 3 or 4. Well, I think it's
2 and a half when they start that.
Because and I think it's also the relationship that the mom has. The relationship with the mom has with the kid.
Very true.
If that's off. You're gonna get it's gonna seem like because you could be like, hey, we need to spend more time, and they're like, hey, I need to do this for my kid, especially if it's a single mom, with the one kid, and then they're gonna act like that. So it's kind of like you split the time, and sometimes it could look like jealousy, but it's no, your kid is not a good kid.
This coming from the man that said kids are trash.
God.
No, kids are. I'm an advocate of kids are trash.
But I also think that sometimes parents are so overly protective that they don't realize that they could be putting their relationship with somebody else in jeopardy because they try to be more in tune with the kid's side and not in tune with their partner, and so it becomes like this, like you said, a battle between kid and the person that's there, and it necessarily never should be like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked the question, is because
I think adults have to realize that we're adults and they're children, and children shouldn't have a bearing on relationships. Now, if it's a situation in which your kid's like, oh, this person did XYZ or this person said XYZ, now that's a situation where I'm, of course, paying attention to my child. But I think that adults have to act as adults, and definitely single moms, because it is hard. I could attest that you, as a single mother, you bond to that kid because it's just you and them. You know what I mean? It's you guys against the world. So you kind of have that very protective nature about them. Kids are instinctively very protective of their mother, so you already have that. I think, adults just have to be cognizant of that, have the conversation, and realize these kids will leave you. They gonna leave you so quick. Yeah. It's not even funny. They about to leave as soon as they get that sniff. Oh, it's over. They don't want to talk to you.
You see a lot of them staying close to home now.
They're close to home, but it's this.
When I say
there's
close
that
to
breaking
home, I
in
mean,
relationship.
I'm talking about down the hall from your room.
No, I'm saying no. I feel you, but I'm saying because my son will probably stay after 18, but there is that breaking of, when I say that relationship, that bonding where they naturally just want to come to you and they want to hang out with you. There hits a time where they're like, I'll stay in the house, but I want to go kick it with my friends and I'll see you later. So, just understanding that, your kid's going to hit that point, and then,
if you ain't got no life,
you'll be out lost.
Yeah.
That ain't going to be me.
But sometimes kids are trash.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids and babies are trash. They just do stuff. But they just do stuff. You'd be like I was in the store the other day, and I was getting annoyed by this lady's kid. He wasn't even doing. What was he doing? He was doing
Trey's
something.
like, your baby's defective.
I was like,
I
was like, you're not gonna say nothing to this kid. Or you're
Yeah,
not
that's
gonna do
the
nothing?
annoying part.
And I'd be looking at him. One time I put my mask on, and I was like this.
Oh yeah.
Because he was throwing a fit. He was throwing stuff out of the cart, and I just was like,
see, I'm tired of people not embarrassing their kids no more. People's tired of, I don't want to be yelling and being embarrassed. No. You check them in public because that's what they know you ain't finna do. You talk, shut up. And they sit over there like, get out of my face with that nonsense.
Exactly.
It depends on who your kids are, because all I gotta do is look at my kids and they already know.
Yeah,
I will
but if you've
mess
already,
you
so
up.
check this out. For my son, because he's seen me lay the smack down before. and not necessarily even on him.
Yeah.
And so when just to see that, now he already know. Like he could be, and it's funny because I watch him because I know he does it. He does things and watches me at the same time because he knows that once I've caught an attention of it, it's over. Yeah. Because and I don't have to say a word. No. So I don't say a word to him. He getting his little, and then all I do is turn and look. He see eye to eye, it's over. Yeah, we ain't gotta go to words, because if we gotta go to words, it ain't gonna be cool. You feel me? Yeah. So just let it stop right now. And so, but that just came from the example of him seeing that. So I just think that some people have not showed their kids that they'll go to the extent. Like my mom went to the extent of saying, call the police. And I called them people, and she didn't flinch. You know? So I was scared of her. You feel me?
Absolutely.
You know, she didn't flinch. And they came in there. She said, you can take him if you want to. Mm-hmm. And so my thing is that we don't have that type of parenting no more. I'm not saying that you got to beat your kids, but at the same time, like, what are you doing to show them that you're not playing? Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's what because you could take away an Xbox or a cell phone, or they know they're gonna get it back. Yeah. You know, like, and that's the thing. But pride, you got work to get that back for. That's why you're seeing them people cutting their kids' hair off, making them bald head, or giving them to George Jefferson, cutting off eyebrows and all that type of stuff. I'm going to humiliate you. You're going to think it's a game, but you ain't going to do it again because you ain't going to want to walk out this house looking like that ever again.
But do you think that the kids of today could handle that type of humiliation?
No, we could have, but...
Yeah, we could have. We would have just had to. Yeah.
They'll hang themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody tweet and get an Instagram, one post, say hang themselves. Oh, I can't take it no more.
You know, I'm telling you. Someone was talking
everybody get a trophy.
Someone was talking to me about my kid. Speaking of children and dating the other day, somebody's asking me about my kid, and I'm like, yeah, I have, my oldest, I don't have a good relationship with them, right? So that sounds horrible when you're like, you don't have a good, but they don't know the backstory.
That's a loaded question.
My daughter done, tried to hurt herself multiple times and then be like, but can you give me some Chipotle while she's in the hospital? How you in the hospital? But you try to take your life, but now you want some Chipotle. No, that is a bonus round type of benefit. You don't get that. But like how you can be...
It's hospital food. Yeah.
That I gotta pay for.
Salisbury steak.
You know what I mean? But it goes to show. And she was there because I took her cell phone away that morning. So yeah, it does go to show that these kids these days, like, you can't do that level of humiliation. You can't even talk about them, to their or get on their social media and comment.
So then that's the thing. So have we created these irreparentable children to the point to where we can't beat them, we can't discipline them, you can't go to these levels of humiliation because everything you do is a detriment to their character and how they turn out in the future because they're so soft right now. And the thing is whose fault is that? I can't. Some people say it's the laws, and I don't believe it's the laws.
Oh no, it's not.
Us.
It's not.
But I think there's a part where you when you're raising them, some people let that get out of hand. Let that attention bug get out of hand. Like you gotta have the attention of social media. We all know we're on social media, but we all know we can log off and be okay.
And be off for a minute.
And be off, and be okay. And as we're off more and more, we'll be okay. Yeah. Because our life is that past that is off of there versus them. They're so if you let them stay plugged into it for long enough, they're like, hey, I can't go without the drip.
That's
like I can't go without
that's their life.
And then they also don't need us. I'll be honest, like the kids right now, you talked about can we parent them? It's almost like I can tell you as long as your kid can read, I really don't think at these times they really need you to parent them. If they can read to Google anything, if you think about how quickly you can find out any information, how to make macaroni and cheese, how to lock the door, all these things that they can figure out how to do, I really don't think if you haven't started making yourself necessary in their lives about age 1 through 4, it used to be like 6, but 1 through 4, I don't believe you have a stake in the game. And when they're about 6, they're like, I'm out. My son plans his own weekends. He has his bag already packed. I'm like, I understand that I don't have a lot of say so. Like I run things, but what is shaping him and the patterns he has. Oh no, those things are already set. I think parents got to start like.
But see, I don't think that's any different than how we were, because I could remember myself like knowing what I wanted to do for the weekend. I think the difference
knowing
between,
and being able to plan it, where he's already called Alexa, he's already know his transportation.
But see, that's
what
what I'm saying. That is, even though they have the access to this, even if I had the access to it, the level of parenting that I had was like, no. You doing what I told you.
But you have to start that, like, because I seen this 2-year-old today have a tantrum in, like, across the street, like, 2 years old, like, flailing her body. And I was like, she don't got a choice. Like, my hands started moving. Like, why does she have so much power? So that makes me think that how do you start punking your kids before they're 2? Like, she was strong and, like, not having it.
Well, you see, that's the thing. I remember my perfect age, 2 years old, my little sister, we in Walmart. And she throw a tantrum all out on the floor, crying, kicking, all that. My mom looked at her, and she looked at me and my brother. She said, well, I got shopping to do. Y'all two stay here, sit here till she done. And she walked off and left us in the store right there with my sister. People walking by, yes, we just sitting there. We're on the floor. You feel me?
And that's a G move.
But it was real, because see, that's the thing. Like what you're teaching. No, but see what you said is, see, these kids are a sponge. See, they throw these temper tantrums because they're a temperature check. When they throw them, they want to see how fast it's like pulling a fire alarm. How fast is the response time? You know? And once you get it down to the point that this is all I got to do to get what I want, then that's when it starts, and that's how you get the spoiled behavior. See, us as parents, so this is what we've done. It's because our parents beat our butts and told us no. And we're like, hey, you know what? I'm not finna tell my kid no, and I'm not finna beat him like that. So in those times where our parents were actually building character, we took away building character for our children, and so then we turned them into spoiled brats, because we said the things that work for me, I'm no longer allow them to work for the next generation.
I just want to add on to what you said, like even with the saying no, I think it's important for us as parents to be comfortable with that. Like, even if we have the means sometimes to do it, I think it's good just for a child to hear that, because if they hear yes all the time, then they're not being raised in a way where they have realistic expectations, because that's not the way the world operates, you know. And I think another important aspect of parenting, at least for me, that I'm seeing with my boys, is that they need affirmation from me. So they might be able to get the information and plan trips and do all that type of stuff, but that's that important aspect that they're getting from me, at least like from a masculine standpoint. Like, they're getting affirmation from their father. You know, they're getting a sense of who they are and their place in the world by the way that I carry myself and the way that I relate to them, and them getting to see that, you know.
It's not so much it's an absence of parenting. I think my point is more so that they don't necessarily need us. Of course they need us for guidance. The role of a parent has never changed. But the accessibility they have to the information they can get that can supersede our influence. I'm not saying parents who are active, but parents who are inactive, or parents that are just bystanding, it's so quickly that everything you've had to say completely gets drowned out by YouTube, by, I don't know, OnlyFans, whatever you have to say. Yeah, Roblox, exactly. My son told me the other day that he wants to, he was, I don't know, was he robbing a bank or something? And I'm like, okay, this is just perfect. Let's sit down and talk about the ramifications of robbing a bank. So we got to talk about sentencing and stuff at 6 years old. Why are we doing that? But for me, it's just, we're just going to be as honest as we can about this. I'm not putting any money in your books. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah. I think there has to be, I think that there's no restrictions to the access they have to information. And that's the biggest thing. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that is accessible, but how much are we monitoring how much they're accessing it, and helping them understand that this is not a lifestyle, this is a privilege, this isn't a right. And the thing is that they're operating as this is their right. You know, because
their school tells them that's right. When you get tablets that are sent out to you and you have the internet accessible to you all day, and everyone, their counselors will tell you that they need phones. I'm like, what does a kid need a phone for? You better get a pager.
But even with that, regardless on if they have them or not, like when I was in school, I was in high school not too long right after Columbine happened. They were allowing us to bring phones in the classroom. You just had to. It was monitored.
Yeah.
You couldn't just pulled it out in the middle of the class. Hey, you got that thing took.
I remember when you can only just get incoming calls.
Yeah.
No, for real. No, you couldn't call out. You couldn't call out. That thing had to ring. It had to be emergency. But that's what I'm saying. You pull that thing out, somebody's seen it. You come get that from me after class. And it happened too many times. You gonna pick it up from the office. You know. And so that's the thing. Then we got to the point to where parents were going up to the school saying, you can't take my kid's phone. You can't do this. You can't do that. And so it becomes more of a, so now you're putting the people who should be, you know, like teaching your kids in a bad spot, because now they have to balance their behavior and educate them at the same time. Because instead of saying, hey, you know, you ain't supposed to have your phone out, they Facebooking and TikToking and Instagramming in class.
In class, yep.
And so that's the thing. When you're looking at it, like, what are we allowing them to do? And is their problem really there? Because regardless of if they need us or not, they're still not mature enough to make their own decisions like that. And because they're not mature enough to make their decisions like that, it's our fault.
They're mature enough to make decisions. They're not mature enough to make sometimes the decisions that are most profitable for them.
The reason why I say they're not mature enough to make decisions, because more times than not, they're not going to make the right.
They're still not going to make the right decisions at 22, sitting at work, and they shouldn't have their phone out, and they're just like having their phone out or whatever while I'm trying to get, you know, my Starbucks or whatever. So I think that you, by the time your child is 6 or 7, you've raised them to be conscious of right and wrong and understand that everything I do, there's going to be a consequence and a repercussion. And I think after that point, it is what it is, because you've given them direction. You know the difference. What you do with that is up to you.
And that's true.
And so it's not, I think we try to parent so far and we get harder and harder on them, and they're listening less and less because they've been in this world longer and longer. And they're like, I have a sense of what's going on too. Everything you say is not always true. Right. And they're kind of creating this world without us. And rather than us realizing, okay, we've given them what we have to give them. Now everything else is just management. Let's just, you know, make sure we know what's going on. We keep having a conversation.
You can't manage something that you've let go out of control. And so that's my thing.
No. And not manage them, but I'm saying, like, I manage my household. Everything that Joseph needs to do, I don't do that. But there's going to be a consequence. I'm a big one on, like, this is the real world. I'm giving you a consequence. You wanted me to wash your dishes? Where's my $5 since you want a butler? So, I mean, everything's just practical application, because I want to see how much he's going to do. He wanted to go down this really big hill the other day, and I was like, ooh, that's dangerous. I shouldn't let him do that. And I was like, nah. I went down it while he wasn't watching and seeing if I could go up it, and then I let him do it. I didn't let him know that I was watching it, because I want him to know there is some freedom, but there were some pitfalls. He did fall. He wasn't happy about it, but I told him that already. I don't know how to be a man, but I'm trying to do the best I can to put Joseph in situations where he has freedom. He's not all up under me, because my role's a little bit different. My role is a little bit different. He's six, but if you sit down with Joseph,
I'm not saying that. Come on.
I'm saying.
I know he's very smart.
My job is a little bit harder, because I have to think not only for my nurturing sensibility, but this also sensibility that says, okay, you can't just have him up under you. If his father was present, his father would snatch him from you and say, I'm gonna go take him and do something else.
I hear that.
So I gotta say, okay, Alicia, keep him distance, but keep him close.
I hear that, but I was saying he's still 6. You don't want to.
Well,
you don't want.
Please take him for a week.
I get it. You feel me?
Do you assess his age?
I've been saying
like
he's
that
6.
One kid, they said she was adopted. She's really 25 years old, but
that was
saying she was 7 or something.
She was. That was crazy. Was that one on one of them podcasts? The ones where was that the one?
I researched that. Yeah,
the girl said she was like 7 or 8, but she really was like 25, 26, and she was stealing stuff from them when they was asleep, and they was like, "Yo, she is older."
Was she a midget?
And
she was like. She had some type of disease.
So it's like little man.
Yeah. It was.
She had got them.
She had got them. And she was getting them in trouble.
Wait, didn't they go to court and like have her?
Yes, and she was acting out for other people or not for other people, but with them, she was doing crazy stuff, and it was like, yo, get this girl out of our house. But I think what it was is like they either adopted or
But then they couldn't because
They could, yeah,
technically
yeah,
it was,
yeah.
it-
They
it
couldn't.
was their daughter.
Yeah, there was
like,
their-
you can't just kick your
yeah.
daughter
So
out.
How they
Yeah.
find out? How they find out she grown?
because they had they
Dental records.
they had like got some records from where she was from, and they realized yo this girl is not they told the judge this girl is not this young. They was like
You gotta take care of this 25-year-old
this girl is 30. They was like she said 23, and they was like
She getting Social Security.
She's married and got 2 kids. I'm still taking care of her.
she know how to get in our account.
Got EBT
Yeah.
card and everything.
She knew what
From the state.
she knew how to check the balance on the credit card and stuff.
Got one of them life alert buttons.
Gray hair for
Okay, we're gonna switch topics. We're gonna switch gears a little bit.
Funny.
What was I about to add? Well, I was about to say something to y'all that was so profound. And I don't remember what it was.
Martin Luther King. Look at you.
I know, right? I know. Dang it. It might have been about Trump.
Man, your boy been active, man.
Yeah,
He got that new blog. You heard about his new blog?
I seen his
You
blog.
gotta have something because Twitter, Facebook, ain't nobody letting him write nothing. He gotta start his own thing.
can't
Yeah.
even get a MySpace.
He can't get a face.
He said he can't get a MySpace.
He can't get nothing. I think everybody kicked him off. Even
get a Black Planet.
Etsy, Etsy kicked, even
Orange
Kev on
Planet.
stage. He kicked him off. He was like,
But speaking of Black Planet,
He got to get an
why
Orange
is it
Planet.
that
needs to-
like
it's called
black
Trump
dating
Witter
sites,
Book.
there'll be like Caucasian people in there. Have you ever seen a white girl on?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a bunch.
They
It's-
be
That
on
no.
makes
there.
me uncomfortable.
What?
Like,
I ain't
I'm
been
sure-
on Black Planet in years, but they
some
was
people,
like-
no, they're on that one, the black
Yeah.
app. Some people will report them.
Oh, that's funny.
They'll report them, but at the same time, is it a violation
It
to be
is.
on?
You can't do that.
Be
That's against the law. It is.
No, to like okay,
That's
so-
discriminatory. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're saying okay? So if
Yeah.
it's a black dating app for black singles, and I am a Caucasian single,
Yes.
you're saying it's wrong for me to log on and to.
But if you are looking,
It is
I'm
not.
saying-
It
I'm
is
saying
not
from the legal
It can. It
aspect.
cannot be. It is no. A moral standpoint, you
It's
may have
hella
something.
wrong. Hella wrong from a legal standpoint, you can't do that. Cause even from let's say from like a Christian private school, like you cannot deny a Muslim or somebody.
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
that type of deal.
I'm just saying, like socially though, it's
What do you
uncomfortable
mean?
because it's like we wanted
you
a
talking
space.
about?
We weren't looking for
can't do
you.
True.
That's why we logged on to black.
Cause like even schools like SPU, cause I've heard these conversations.
Yeah, but a lot of these schools are privatized too, so they can accept and deny who they want.
So
But they
there's
can't
still
say
legal
it's based on-
ramifications.
Yeah, they can't. You can't say I denied you because you are of Islamic faith.
Yeah.
But because you're a privatized school, it doesn't even matter. You can just tell somebody I denied you just cause, and that's what it is. Because you can accept and take
But-
whoever you want to.
But also, that's also when folks, they say I was discriminated against because of that.
yeah.
Anyway.
yeah, but like that, or like
Anyway.
Harvard and stuff, they were saying that Asian students were saying that they were getting discriminated against on the algorithms.
Well, I mean-
for the admission, they were saying that like was it
How many black people was getting discriminated
Affirmative
on
action.
the algorithm for the
Affirmative action
I don't,
was-
I don't like hearing that.
Nah, they put it.
But what it
I'm
was
sorry.
what it was but it was Asian Americans, but it was Indian Americans. It was Indian families. They
Oh, okay.
they were the ones that,
Okay.
that were bringing up a lot
I hear
of
what
the
you're saying.
cases.
Yeah, because they are Asian too. Yeah,
Yeah, the Asian exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it was that
East
they were
India,
feeling like
yeah.
they were getting discriminated against
Due
in
to
those algorithms because they were being paired with Asian students, and some of them were being paired in the same group as black students because if you look, they look like the black. They look black.
us, yeah.
Yeah,
And so when they see that picture, they like,
Drop.
I mean, I don't think why anybody is surprised why it's hard to get in some place like a Harvard or a Yale or anything like that. I mean, yeah, we want to try, but I don't see why people think that it's like going to be a cakewalk to get in these places. Like, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there's all these other. I mean, HBCUs have incredible educational programs and stuff like that, but we overlook them and they don't get the funding because don't nobody go to these schools yet. They want to go and get turned down by these, white supremacist schools. If you want to think about it, because that's what they really are. I mean, you think about skulls and bones and all those type of things and all these secret societies that then came out of some of these Ivy League schools. And at the same time, their network is only to support the top 1% of the world. So if that's the case, why are we going to these schools trying to be a part of their network instead of creating our own?
But it's the prestige, because obviously if you're...
I get that, but I'm saying I don't care about that. I'm just saying, why are we going for their prestige when their prestige has got us in the position that we're in? Why don't we always create our own? We have our own avenues.
Oh, I wasn't just talking black. I was just talking...
I'm just talking about people. See, so my thing is when I've been doing a lot more thinking about this. So when I'm BIPOC, right? So when you think about BIPOC, right, and you think about all these nationalities and all these people coming together of different forms of sexualities, all that, whatever it be, whenever it comes to making a move in this country, those are the people that are dependent on. White folks already got it figured out which side they gonna be on, whether it be Republican, Democrat, whatever issue you gonna be on. If you conservative, liberal, whatever side of the table you're on, socialist, you already have that figured out. For us, they're always trying to get us to shift the pendulum to be a part of one of those groups so that they can have power.
Which part of the supremacy are you going to side with, essentially?
That's the question that they're always asking. Mm-hmm. My thing is why are we always letting them ask that question instead of creating our own supremacy here ourselves? And that's the thing. Like we're the talented ones. We're the ones who built this country. We're the ones who, the tech industry, it ain't white folks. Like I'm saying, all these things come from other people, yet we depend on a certain group of people to make sure that we have the necessities and the resources that we need to go forward, and we don't need them. A lot of these people come here and get education and go back to their own country and educate their own people. If that's the case, we don't need these people to tell us or always create a pathway for us, and we actually can create our own. It's just a fear of stepping out on your own sometimes is what people fear to do. It's scared to do.
Because there's no net. I think there's no net, and sometimes there's no community to step out into, or there's no the remnants of that community is not what you want to go back to. Like take for instance, like if I was to go back, if I had got degrees or whatever and went back to where I was from, I grew up in the Rust Belt. And so there's not a lot of tech. There's a couple because people realize they've come back, but there's a lot of brain drain. So there's not a lot of tech. There's not a lot of advancing industries there, and so going back, and the population is dwindling because they're getting older, the plants are moving, the people are retiring. Just in the couple of neighborhoods, I know a lot of people who will still live there, but at the same time, kids are about to grow up and they're moving out of the state, and so it'd be like, hey, go back to the community you were from. Okay, there's not really community there. And I think that's when it's like, okay, where do we send our where do people go? Like, say, so where do black people go to advance our community in other places besides X City, besides Atlanta, besides
and I think that's
places.
The thing. I think what we have to understand is that we cannot do this by ourselves. Mm-hmm. But we don't need. No, hold on, listen. Just listen. Hear me up before you.
I was going to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead. I want to hear that.
I was going to ask, who are you speaking for? Who are we speaking for? And I asked that. You're saying we build these communities. Do the people that you speak of want to be a part of the community?
Well, see, I'm not talking about building. I'm not talking about that. When I say go back to your own community, I'm talking about people coming here, learning, and going back to their own countries and building there. I'm not talking about going to, because I mean, that, regardless from that, that's one thing.
I don't think they learn here. I think
they do learn
connections. I don't.
They come here and get educated. They get degrees here.
No. I think they get educated, but I don't think that they learn better here.
No. What see what I'm saying is they come here, they do learn here, and they get do learn better here because of the resources that America has for them to learn.
What country are you referring
So
to?
what I'm saying is
Like
that a lot of
underserved
times they come here, they get educated. You go India, all these guys. Sometimes they come here and they get educated. They go back. They've built schools now to the point to where they're educating people off of what they learned.
If they're underserved, I just wanted to clarify that you're talking about underserved countries.
Well, you got to think about
what we may
think about underserved, or what we may think about underserved 10, 20 years ago, maybe not underserved now.
I'm talking about underserved now. That's all I was.
So regardless on what you want to say, all of them are mostly not underserved because on the fact that they came here and built off of here and went back and rebuilt there. And so what I'm saying is if they can do that, what America has done, the strongest thing is to get everybody who's considered a minority, because regardless on if all the minorities clicked up, they would be the majority, but separate, we're all minorities. That's the one thing, that's what you call divide and conquer. Because we all come here with this American dream. We were brought here with the American dream. But we all come here with this American dream, yet we can't figure it out because we can't work together. Yet they all sit there at the top and they play puppet master. And that's what I'm saying. When we can figure out, all us that are considered minorities, when we can figure out how to jail in America, not necessarily go to other countries and rebuild, but jail in America and say, this is what the American dream really is. Not what you guys said it was, not what you guys created, but you got to think about it. It has enhanced to this now. And we can't have an America, we can't have a sustainable America, especially look at how our kids are looking and how they are coming together, as if we continue to go down the same road. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing. When you Asian Americans and Indian Americans and African Black Americans and all that can say, you know what, Chase out. We're not going to go off of the script that was already written before we got here. We're going to create our own script in America because it's a different place for us now. And until that can happen, we're going to have to deal with the same problems. And we're going to be marching and we're going to be complaining because the same people are going to run the world.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. There's so many holes in that. I don't even want to start.
Call it what you want to call it.
But I think that's part of that is true. Like I do agree that they take a lot of what's taken here. They'll go back if they do stay here, they end up being a part of a different community than the one that like Ethiopians. There's a certain playbook that they play once they get here. If they're not in school trying to finish something, they're working and building for them. It's not necessarily, and I think that's the hard thing for Black Americans is that we try to have this connection with other people, and they really don't really try to have a connection with us until they see or until they experience enough of what we have experienced to where then they're like, oh dang. But even still, we get to experience some parts of their culture, but they still are like, hey, we're just in our bubble on the west side of this city. And
a lot of that comes from education. So you talk about, you have good education, you have education that can do bad, and you have movies like Birth of a Nation that came out that pictured Black people a certain way, it is rapists and all that. And that was one of the first screen-written plays that people seen in America. And so you have all that. You got foreigners that come and they're taught to see Black America in a certain light. So what I'm saying is, regardless on the fact of how we see it, there has been a divide and conquer environment caused in America when it comes to minority groups. And so if that's the case, if we understood and seen the similarities in each other, but seen instead of the differences, which they allowed us to focus on the differences, then we can move forward. But the fact that we're always split because it's all about, like you said, Africans that come here, they work for themselves. They work for themselves as a culture.
Yep.
See, us, we have to work for ourselves as a person.
Yep.
And that's the difference, And so if there's an understanding of that, Right? Once we get to the understanding of that, because that's what the fallout is. A lot of people look at us as lazy because they don't think we have the same work ethic they have, but they don't understand that they get a different experience of America than we get.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing. Once people have a level of understanding of each other and say, you know what, never really looked at it that way, then that's when we have more of our kumbaya moment to move forward. But I say kumbaya loosely. But what I'm saying, but at the same time, if we're going to always focus on what the differences between us, we'll never move forward, and we'll always be holding on to the coattail of the creators of this America.
But we act as though we're comparing culture to culture. Being black is not even, you can't even assimilate a culture. You can't even, what are you going to do? How do you put together this culture? We're different. Asians, yes, they all, I'm not saying that they all have nail shops or beauty supplies, but I'm saying that's like a thing that they do when they get over here. We don't have anything. And a lot of the times when we generalize, have these conversations, some black people don't want to be a part of this utopia community that we're trying to create, because in theory, they're okay in their little pockets. They're okay not having Juneteenth celebrations. They're okay not marching. A lot of of course, we all want change, but a lot of us are not actively. If you had to put time and money into being black, time and money into being black, into participating in some form of a cultural experience, would we do it? Or would we not show up? Or would we be like, I don't want to do that, but I want to do. What would we? I mean, so I'm saying, like, are you really trying to compare yourselves to any other culture?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing.
I'm
not comparing the culture, because see, when you use the word culture, you're automatically using. Hold on.
Don't
when
do,
you use,
don't
hold
do
on,
No. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying, when you approach it using the word culture, you're already no. Hear me out.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm saying. When you comparing it, if you're approaching using an idealistic vision of culture, that is already a divisive thing, because everybody has a different makeup of culture. So you'll never be able to understand each other if we're coming from what my culture standpoint is. What I'm saying is everybody has characteristic similarities. And if we all have characteristic similarities, you could tap into that. My thing is that nobody taps into that, because we always are looking at the things that differ us. And because somebody set up a system that we can always look at what differs us, we can never go forward. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about culture, regardless. I understand. So I understand the race of black. I understand black people race versus everybody else. I understand the structure of all that. I understand the difference in cultures. But I do realize that a lot of that is created so that we can always have this dysfunction between everybody.
And I agreed with you when you said that originally. So what I was asking is, as a culture, as black people, would we be willing to invest anything into being a part of this, whatever you would like to call it, cultural, this socioeconomic, I mean, I don't know where you want to go with it, but would we invest our time? Would we invest our money? Would we follow any principles that were associated with this culture that would also serve to protect us? Because that's essentially what we're saying.
Why wouldn't you?
Really?
Why wouldn't you say, I'm going to be a part of something and be all in? My thing is, it's all up to a person's decision, regardless on if it's available for you. You still have to do your due diligence and decide. But my thing is if you're going based off of what's going on right now, you're already fighting the fight to lose. And that's what I'm saying. So you can't complain. You can't get in a race knowing you're going to lose and then complain that your foot hurt. You knew you were finna lose anyway. Why are you getting in the race? My thing is, if that's the case, then create the Special Olympics. If that's the case, create something where you can be successful at, where you create your own lane, where it looks the way you want it to look. Because that's what the Republican Party is. That's what the Democratic Party is. They both have an idea of how they want America to look.
But that's what we're doing individually, though.
I hear what
only when it affects.
I hear what you're saying. But the thing is the issues that we talk about aren't individual issues. We're talking about how to make this country better for a certain type of people.
A certain type of people.
Well, because there is a type of people who live like this is heaven. And so my thing is there is a certain type of people that don't get the benefit to tap into the American dream. Everybody shouldn't get the American dream. You should get the American dream based off of your work ethic, your own merits. But everybody should have the opportunity to get there. Yeah. And so that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I have a hard time having the even conversation around the American dream when it's like we were all, I mean, if you look historically at the cultures that we came from, the communities that we came from, this wasn't a dream. Even when I have friends who are African from Ghana, and they say, this is nothing what I thought it was. I work way more than I did when where I came from. I had more space for my kids to run and play, and, you know, of course the weather would have you. So sometimes when I keep hearing us say the American dream, I didn't dream up any of this. This is what I want.
That's what I'm trying to tell.
But this is what I'm saying. I don't even make the reference because whoever said it was an American dream. I was born, and look, I'm about to do what I'm going to do. So I think sometimes when we feed into some of those ideologies or some of those terms, I feel like we continue to start on their narrative. Let's just go have some fun.
But is that true? Because your friend from Ghana, she came here chasing what?
Yeah,
and the American dream. So what I'm saying
yes,
is the
term.
idea of it is there because obviously you're
But you dispel it.
But you're chasing something that you see. No.
People are.
But you're not chasing something that you think is untangible because obviously you've seen it be accomplished. So the thing is people are chasing it with some sense of tangibility. The opportunity is not equal. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is that because the people who run America, they control how equal the opportunity is.
Again.
So what I'm saying is if you come here, we're starting to get Congress people, senators that look more like us. We're starting to get mayors and people who start to look like us, activists out there fighting to push the agenda. So if that's the case, why don't we get instead of us every year every election cycle looking Republican, Democrat, why don't we create our own lane to where we're putting our own candidates and saying this is who we're prepping up to represent us for the American dream
because
on a city level, on a state level,
because
on a federal
you're pretending. No one wants you in their no one wants you in the race. No one wants you to have your own ballot.
So
why are you still trying to play?
What I'm saying is like I say, if that's the case, then why fight? Why continue to go for? Why continue to? Why continue to ask for equality if you feel like you don't have a foot in the race? If you don't have a foot in the race, you ain't gonna make it to the finish line. So why ask to get the fair start?
Oh, I wasn't asking for anything.
Well, that's what we're asking for on the national.
The Bible very clearly says like. You take it by force. There is no, I'm sitting here asking to be on one of your ballots. Like, no, there is so much power and there is so much essence. If we want to come together as a community, as a brown and black community, then we do that. But I don't think that we want it as bad as we say we do.
I don't understand how much you know about politics, but at the same time, you can write anybody in on the ballot. You write anybody on the ballot, but what I'm trying to say is,
I'm not saying that, so I'm not going to have the conversation.
And what I'm trying to say is, I already know how the electoral college just broke down. You got Republicans, you got Democrats. There is not even a space for independent. But what we have seen in history in America, if you get enough people behind something, you can change the way America thinks about something, or the way that they present something. So what I'm saying is, we have never even challenged the Republican Democratic Party with anybody else. Never even got close to challenging them. We've always left it down to those two parties for the races. And if that's the case, why do we complain? You can't. Until you said, I've tried and I've done it and I've failed. And what we've seen in history is if you make a big of enough splash, they'll make some progress.
They'll give you the brown people that you want. Do we not see that repeatedly? They'll give you the brown people that you want. It does not mean that it does. No, time and time again, it does not mean that the voice is going to change. It does not mean that our concerns are going to get met, and we don't even collectively know what they are. Our concerns are different on so many levels.
It doesn't even matter. That's just so vague way to say, and that's the case where we might as well just give up the fight now. Tell everybody cancel all the forward marches. Every legislation going past, just stop it right now. We live in a white America, and that's the way it's going to be to the day we die.
Let's be real about it. Let's be real about it at this table. When's the last time we went to a rally?
I mean,
so what are we just talking? Like, are we?
I've been to some. So
pandemic, man. You can do a virtual rally.
No, I was out there.
No,
so I'm saying out there. So I'm saying,
really,
and there was tons of people out there. Yeah. And so I'm saying, like,
there's tons of people. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, just because
I really believe that everything starts with people. We can't ever talk about anything that we're not already about, because essentially it's just making a voice of something but having nothing behind it. And everyone can do that. Just like we see on YouTube. Everyone has an opinion. Who cares about your opinion? What are you doing? How are you moving the needle? Like, period. If your life does not resemble what you're talking about, who cares? And if we did that more, we wouldn't have to continue to have the conversations that continue on and don't change.
I think you can have the conversation. You still have to have the action. You still have to have, there's another part to the action that you have to have, because there's so many people trying to stop something. There's so many people not trying for people to have more, but for people to have less, or for people to have only a section of something. Just like with the last election, like, more people voted, and not necessarily they could have voted for some more. It's so funny. More Republicans voted in this election than have in other elections. Also, more Democrats. But the narrative now is that somehow
Democrats stole the election.
Even though there was a bunch of extra Republican Congress people that won. And then
Cheney's dope.
And legislation is going forward to suppress voters' rights. So
I think that when the people who are mostly affected show up, and you look at, like, even when kids start to show up for for situations that affect children, things start to change. When
so I'm going to stop you right here.
No, because I didn't stop you.
Said that.
I was going to say something else.
I just said that. You said, no, there's too much holes. It got holes in it like a
Hold
ball.
on a second. I was gonna say. Okay.
You be wildin', Lisa. You be wildin'.
I was gonna continue to say something else before you stopped me, just like I didn't stop you last time.
Cool.
Don't do me. Don't do me.
Cool.
Don't do me. But I let you continue on a rant and say the same things, but not get an understanding of what I was saying.
I did. Well, I'm just saying, you said the same thing I just said.
No, I didn't. You didn't even let me finish.
Well, it was the same thing. I said it already.
All right.
So Joe Budden.
All right. It has been real.
Last topic. I think that's a good segue about Joe Budden. If you don't know the situation, go look it up. We don't got time to explain everything. I think the real question is, can you be business partners with your friends and still keep that friendship through a business?
If their name is not Joe and Budden, yeah, probably. Sad.
I think it's possible. I do.
But does there have how much safeguard, or how much how much like separation does there have to be between the two? Because I feel like we always hear the situations, money or control or some type of something happened where all of a sudden people are just like, man, I can't even deal with that person anymore. We can't even do anything together anymore.
I think it's simple, man. I think it's just doing good business, and I think you should want to do good business with your friends, especially your friends. You know, that doesn't always happen, right? And they say money reveals more about you or it reveals what's already in you, and you know sometimes that happens. But I think it's simple. Like, you know, if you communicate and transparent, and also like that's my bro. You know what I'm saying? That's my sis. Like, I'm gonna do my best to look out for you. I think that's how it's the best approach. But money does come in and it does complicate things, but it doesn't have to. That's what I'm saying.
And I think the most important thing you said is communication. Communication is the most important part. And going from the Roy Mile and Joe Budden situation, there was a huge lack of communication with everything that they had going on. And it seemed like Joe had the most communication with everybody when it came to money, show, how everything go. Mal and Roy was still left in the dark, and you know, I think that's the most important thing. Money does expose how you already were, and that's why I kind of like drop out of how I feel about Joe Budden, because I was never a fan of his, because I never really liked his person. And so because I never really liked his person, I never really was a fan of his. And so when this happened, I was like, yeah, I seen that coming. Like, and it speaks to his character. And before this, you know, so, and I mean, not even that, Roy and Ma was being warned about his character when it came to business, you know, and so, oh, it's our homeboy, it's cool, but nah.
It's the difference between working with your friends and like working with people that you know or have become friendly with. I mean, I believe that your friends, the people that are down for you, you already know their character. If they're slimy, if they're inconsistent or whatever, like you already know that and you already prepared to deal with that. But if you don't know who you're dealing with, that stuff can creep out on you, but that's not your, I think you trip up on the word friend. Like, that's not your friend. If you didn't know I was going to be late, you're tripping because we all know
and
that was going to happen.
And I think that's, sometimes you can be blinded by that because Maul said one thing that was very important. He was like, I know how Joe is. I know he grimy when it come to business. I've seen him do networks and stuff grimy. I've seen him do it. But when it came to me, I did not think that he would do that. And that's where it became the thing. It was like, see, you can't just trust that everybody is just going to do the right thing. Because sometimes what is right for them ain't right for you.
And if they're grimy, they're just grimy. If somebody steals, I don't care if you're their best friend in the world. They steal. Yeah. So they can steal from you. Like, they love you, but that's what they do. If they lie, you know, you talk when you get in relationships and they're like, oh, I cheated on all my exes.
Telling you,
it's not to say you can't change, but that's your character. That is what you get down with. You can alter it for a second, but it comes back.
The representative.
So Joe was like, I'm back.
Yeah. But I think also you have to gauge what that, like, y'all have to be on the same page as far as what does this look like? Mm-hmm. I think for instance, like what does happiness look like? If happiness for you look like 100,000 followers, us getting $40,000 a month, and us just having a great buzz, great, and we're good. If happiness for you look like, hey, we getting like $500,000 a show, $500,000 an episode, we got millions of followers, and happiness for you was just like, hey, I'm showing up.
Yeah.
And then
pretty much.
And we have those different things. You're gonna be unhappy with certain things versus you're gonna be okay with certain things, and at a certain point it's going to click until we have that conversation. Like, hey, we gotta write this down. I think a lot of people, they go on stuff with their friends, not having things written down, thinking they know their friend.
Mm-hmm. Contracts are important.
And they think they know. But I think that in relationship too, it's like, hey, knowing what that person's level of happiness is. That's why I hate the phrase "happy wife, happy life." Yeah. Because what is happiness?
Because you're making that man miserable.
Yeah. And like,
if you live by the happy wife, happy life motto, you make that man is miserable. I ain't gonna lie, that man is miserable.
Yeah, and it's like, because
you said what?
I said don't do it. Don't
I didn't say not true. I don't know about that, but you feel me?
That's interesting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, because
like, how do you get around that?
What do you mean? How do you get around that?
Your chicks just be like, I mean, so if your chick's not happy, like, what happens?
No, go ahead.
I think it's just from the standpoint of like the dude low key turning into a sucker just to make his woman happy no matter what.
I don't disagree, but then what do you like? What do you do?
I think that there has to be just like.
What you do?
Like, if your motto is not a happy wife, a happy life.
No, I think that yes, but both people need to be trying to make each other happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It has to be reciprocal. It ain't just I'm making you happy and I'm happy off the rip because of doing it.
It's happy people makes it equal.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Happy
you feel me?
Makes it equal.
That's what it is. I just made it up right now.
I kind of like that. No, I completely agree with that.
You feel me?
I completely agree with that. I was just wondering, like, what's the opposite of that? But no, if you're talking about reciprocity, that's like a.
Hey, and we about to go deeper because honestly, like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but women don't like getting their way all the time anyway. Like, there's an issue with that. like that y'all have internally.
There is an issue with that.
That's
No,
true.
Because eventually they'll be like, no, because eventually they'll be
Okay.
like, oh, he a punk.
Yes.
He can't protect me. He weak. You feel me? I can just run over him at any time.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a relationship.
Yep.
Now he done created this stanza for you.
Then she looking for the bad boy.
Yeah.
but
So
see-
either she finna cheat on you,
Yeah.
But
or you finna buck up to her. And one or two things gonna happen. She gonna be like, you ain't never been like that before, and she gonna cheat on you even more. Or she gonna love you even more. She gonna be like, oh,
So I think you're talking about a woman that I don't represent because that level.
Well, you only one woman, okay? We talking
No,
about
but
a whole
I'm
bunch of
saying
other
because
ones
you're
out here.
talking about.
There's millions of them out there.
I'm
Bob
talking, so I
Side
can't.
bitch, okay, I'm just saying.
I think it's a thread,
Love
though,
you,
man. I think it's a
but
thread.
But
you
I- like,
only
The
one.
reality of it is those type of behaviors are toxic. So I wouldn't even understand why you.
No. But I think it even. It's not just toxic.
It's too
I
hot
think
for me
it.
to
I
be
think
dealing
it
with
goes back
It is
to.
hot.
It does go back to I think a woman's need to feel protected, right? And also for them to feel like they're with somebody who is gonna look after them and provide for them. I think that's like at a very basic
I mean,
level.
because vice versa, because don't no man want some chick that he can just walk all over all
That's
day.
very true.
anyway.
But the two don't have anything to do. I do want a man who's assertive and who has a certain nature about him, but that has nothing to do with him not wanting to do things for me or take care or look out, saying like, hey, if she asks for something, if I buy her flowers and I'm just
that's
I'm
not what we're saying.
I'm saying when a man goes against his values.
Yeah.
To make
and
a
I don't
woman
and I don't
happy.
think I don't think that a man should ever and a woman should never go
Facts.
against your values. If you have to alter your values in
And
order
who
to be
you
with
are.
someone,
Yeah.
that's just
It's like I'm sitting there, I'm finna watch the game every Sunday, then you want to walk in the room talking about,
no.
you want to watch Days
No,
of
no.
Our Lives. You know I'm watching the game
of
every
Our
Sunday.
No.
Well, I want to watch
No.
Days of Our Lives. It's game day, woman. You feel me? But if you don't understand that, you're going to be watching Days of Our Lives. You feel me?
How about
And
the
that's just
flip
how it
side of
is.
this? And if you're on a date and it happens to be in the middle of the day and the doggone basketball halftime is at 1
That's
o'clock
what
and
you
you got your phone out in the middle of the restaurant and you trying to do this and I'm so
wrong with that? I'm trying to
I
keep up
put
with
that
the
on
score. You feel
everything
me?
I love.
That's
That's what I pay for
Phones.
Hulu Live for,
That's
so I
why-
can watch it anywhere.
Make sure you pay for this.
That's why
Oh.
phones need to be off the table at the date. No phones.
They need silent. I mean,
No,
turn the Wi-Fi off airplane mode.
Put the phone in your pocket. Joseph will not call you during that date.
I don't even have it on my phone for that reason.
I will say it
We
100
can
times.
both watch the game. I'm gonna put my
No.
phone right here. We can both watch it. We can both watch
AirPod
it.
real quick. No.
That's because y'all. This is what y'all will do. Well, my kid might call, so I'm gonna just keep it over here.
That's the biggest
And-
lie that
No,
you ever want to
Hey,
tell
that's the
in life.
biggest lie.
That's a
look,
lie.
man,
My
hey.
No,
son-
you don't want
my-
nobody who do that. If they doing
My
this right
son-
here,
Yeah.
they getting booty calls while you on
Yeah.
the date. They just checking them like, is something better coming right
Yeah,
now?
like we
Oh, we about to set up 7
on the
o'clock.
show.
Okay, yeah.
We on the same social, like so. I know I get
That
to,
you
I know you on. Cause I just went to the bathroom to check mine, so I know you on. So don't play me.
No, I'm not saying.
But no, I think a lot of times you hear like, oh, I want an alpha. Like this, I saw somebody's post today. I want an alpha male. I want somebody to tell me to like put me in my place or shut the F up. And I'm like, people who always say they want an alpha male until it go upside their head, and then like technically there's no such thing as an alpha male. Like
Oh, it is because see, there's alphabet and then there's alpha male because that alpha male gonna hit you in one eye and you can only read the alpha. You can't read the alphabet. You can only be able to read the alpha.
They
That'll
get
be
popped
like, you'll
like,
be at the
yeah.
doctor
Love that
be like,
alpha
read the
male.
little line right
Yeah.
here. I can't see that.
love the alpha male until he pop you, until he go upside your head.
That is so funny that you said there's no such thing as an alpha
I
male.
don't think,
What would you-
I don't think
agree
there
with
is
that.
because
I
I
don't
feel
agree
like
with that.
like
There
if
definitely
you,
is.
I don't think
definitely
so
is.
because if you hear like behavioral like psychologists and like all them talk about what it is, there actually is no like there's characteristics that people have strong characteristics of certain things, but at the same time there's no.
Oh,
I think they're saying they're men who are more alpha.
No, no,
I
no,
would
no,
I think
no,
there's
definitely
more
say
who
that.
are
Definitely alpha
more.
male.
Who
You
are,
tell alpha male when he's in the room. Only reason why is
yeah.
because he's not fighting for position.
Yeah.
He knows his position.
Yeah.
He's already in position. He can't nobody tell him that they better than him. you can't tell him that he ain't what he is. See, the thing is more times than not, when you walk in the room, everybody's trying to be noticed in that room. Alpha male ain't even worried about it being noticed in that room. That's why they talk about it when you compare it to like when you like a pit bull. You feel me? When you got alpha male pit bull, he don't even fight the other dogs. Dogs will beat him up. They'll be trying to, because he knows he's stronger than all of them. He knows that when he snap back, it's different than when they snap.
But so, is that being an alpha, or is that being dominant in the situation? Because if you're dominant in the situation, you could get fighters all day that'll beat up other fighters. Then there's that one fighter who can beat everybody up.
I don't think it's situational.
He don't have to be the alpha male to walk in and everybody knows he'll beat somebody. He'll beat everybody up in this place without having to say anything. I get what you're saying.
Conor McGregor, he ain't an alpha man because he got to talk about everything that he do. When you see a man that walk up in there and he don't say nothing, he just sleeping cats like Uriah Hall cat is just sleeping, or whatever his name is just sleeping cats. The dude that got dude broke his leg against him fighting. When you see somebody going up in there sleeping cats like that, on some Luke Cage type stuff, you feel me? He ain't really talking that much mess or whatever. That's how you know an alpha.
And he's more like a man's man, like you would consider a man's man, because
that's what an alpha male is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think that there are like very clear characteristics of a man's man. Man's men, they don't like be petty. Man. They're not petty. Yeah, they don't be.
He's like an all around man. Where other men fall short in other places. He kind of is all around, and that's what an alpha male is. You know. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. I think it's a. Would you say like you see that there are less alpha males than there used to be?
There's way less alpha males than there used to be.
Well, because I think there's situations where you don't really need to be. Like there's sometimes where you don't really need. Like I would be like, there's sometimes I was with Marv and we was out. We had to switch a tire, and Marv switched the tire just fine. I can do all that stuff,
but he didn't have to.
But I didn't have to. So I'm looking like I'm just chilling like
he was in the air conditioning.
He actually got the car. Yeah. I rock with Trey because he didn't sit in the car. He actually got out, walked around. You feel me?
I'm about to say he was sitting on his phone.
He was trying to help, but it was like it's one of those situations to where it's like a one person job and somebody else coming in helping only makes it look awkward. So he didn't want to be comfortable while I was there.
Yeah, because I'm
gonna be sweating too, dog. Hey man, I'm gonna get that jack for you, bro. You got them nuts over there. Pick them up.
Matter of fact,
I'm gonna get the tire out the trunk.
We were sitting there at one point where we was just like, all right, so how we gonna get this jack? All right, so if we see somebody, we just gonna run up and he asking people walking up, Troy out the window like, hey, what's up, man? You got a jack? So he out there helping. We just ended up coming up with, maybe we should go to Costco.
We was in the parking lot.
Costco makes it hard to be an alpha male.
A lot of these places.
Well, he still let me be an alpha male though. Costco still let me be an alpha male. He said, hey, James out dog, I'm gonna give you this jack and this. You feel me? You can do it yourself. I said, all right, Pimp. I said, that's all you had to say. Hey,
bring them the jack afterwards. They're like, thank you.
That's funny. Speaking of alpha male, I was on a date with somebody, and I said, "Ooh, dang, they don't open doors anymore in Virginia, huh?" He said, "I thought y'all wanted to be independent. You wanted to be on the same." I said, "Hold on, I am not the representative for all women. I want to tell you what but no,
shots.
I thought that was.
You can't be chivalrous with automatic doors. You can't be chivalrous.
That's only Trey thinking. You can't. I didn't even think about automatic doors.
Technology is hindering your chivalry.
We walked to the door at the same time. It open.
Exactly. It open like. You can't be chivalrous. So
you can't walk. You can walk in the sensor first. You can walk into the sensor first, so it open first before she walk up.
That's true, but
and you gotta guide her in and touch the small of her back. You know what I'm saying?
True. But then if she trips,
innovative.
Do you help her up, or do you say, should let me walk first?
Oh my God, that's so funny though. I've never heard that one. That's a new one.
Let her get up on her.
That's like Happy People. I forgot it already.
And I think there's some situations.
Does she tap her debit or do I tap mine?
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Exactly. But if I went to the bathroom and she paid, can I be mad?
I don't let women pay.
No.
Am I supposed to pay for the meal if we start?
And you say that, but I've been punked before, like on something like that. Like I went to the bathroom, came back. came to put my card in the thing and she done already paid.
Oh, that's different.
Like,
I'm saying,
well, I mean,
saying
but
if we
that's
sitting at the
good.
table,
I know, but I get
if we're
that.
sitting at the table,
But,
nah.
no. See,
I always
I would
do
at
this.
least like to at least have the conversation.
yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I'll put it to you like this. I like to have the conversation. If you're hell bent on paying, I'm not gonna take that away from you.
Yeah, I don't
But at
fight
least let
you.
me have the conversation with you and say, hey, I'd rather treat you. You don't trick me.
Listen.
But
You
that's
feel
a
me?
that's a
I-
deeper conversation though. If she's hell bent on paying every time, that's
Yeah,
a whole
that's-
different
yeah.
deal.
Oh, I ain't trying to mess with you, hell
Facts,
bent on paying every
facts.
time.
Yeah. And the
you
same
looking-
way what you don't want me opening your door to, like we ain't got too much already.
But I
We
think
off on
that's
the wrong
it.
foot.
I always
And then
try to
women
do
got
that.
it faster too, so you can't open their door before they got to the other side of the car.
No, because it's
know they
weird.
involved,
Because
right?
it be
It's
cold.
They involved in
No. Because it be cold and you don't be
Went out the
taking your
window.
time.
They don't even touch the door handle no more. They hop right out the window.
She ready to go, so she go ahead and open your door.
y'all be
I wasn't
so-
gonna open it. Go ahead and open your own door.
You
walking
get out, y'all get
slow.
out at the same time.
Walking slow, watching me walk. Get this door. Come on, dang. Get away, go. Don't turn your heat on or nothing.
With an automatic door.
You don't
But
turn
see,
your heat on.
And this is why I
Got
say
me over here
chivalry's dead.
freezing.
Yeah, and this is why I say chivalry's dead. I think there's a lot of men now that are dating women that make a lot of more money than them.
Ooh.
So time out. Let me hear me out.
Hey, I'm
Hear me out.
ad-libbing. I'm
I'm
ad-libbing.
gonna just tell you right now. In the psyche of that, like some men are gonna be overly manly and be like trying to overcompensate for the fact, and some men are gonna be like, well, you fought for equality, now you got it. You feel me? And so, and I'm not saying that that's right, or I'm not saying either way is right or wrong, but I'm saying when you have that, you're going to have more guys saying, she making enough money to open the door. She breaking down. She gonna get them replaced. You feel me? Like
That just speaks to your character.
No,
Don't
no,
worry
I'm-
about my pocket.
That's
Like,
that's what I'm saying. There
do
could be
your thing.
petty men out here,
there are.
and that helps kill chivalry. And that could be what it is. Men just being petty and saying, you know what, I'm not about to go that extra mile because you could pay for somebody to go that extra mile.
And I do. And when it comes to dating, I do think that there is a mutual part because I've heard so many wonderful stories about, women kind of taken up as a way to eat, a way that I've had many men who said, she's asked for me to get food for her kids while we're on a date, like a to-go order for her children that are at home. And what am I supposed to do? And so I do think, I would be
I'm
like,
scared of
I'm
that.
saying, I say no.
Because I would be like, the date is
you
over.
better say no.
I say no.
If I can't take care of my.
Like,
What
you
I
saying
would do
baby's
is-
kids.
What-
What
what
Let's
I'm
see
like-
what Sharp would do.
What I would do is I would pay for it that first time, but there wouldn't be a second date.
Okay. I get that.
See,
You
no,
better than me.
no.
You better than me.
Cause see, guess what? This is a teaching moment. This is a teaching
Especially
moment
if I
right
budgeted
here.
for the
This is a
date already.
teaching. This is a teaching moment right here. So you not
He
finna
said, I
get this
did
first
not
one.
budget for third
Definitely not finna go.
or
You
drink.
definitely finna get because we already in the red right now, woman.
Look.
We ain't finna get this right here. So her response to that is what allows me to understand what it is.
Good
Because
point.
guess what?
That's a good point.
If that's what you asked at the end, you came with the intentions of doing that already.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's why
That's
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying.
that there wouldn't be no second. But there's two different approaches. There's two different
J-Sal,
approaches.
them ain't my babies.
Yeah.
If you had a problem feeding them, you shouldn't even been out with me tonight. You feel me? And whatever you had to do, if you had to go to the motel, hotel, Holiday Inn,
The Foxy Lady.
you feel me? To go feed your children, that's what you got to do. But you ain't finna be out here on the hotline trying to get me to, you feel me?
But you know what? A lot of responses to that is you come with an expectation of some payment. Like if you anticipate on date 1 or 2 that you're gonna get some, people have said like, why don't you make it an investment? You get something.
If I'm finna
Damn.
get something anyway, we ain't finna go home and see your kids. What you talking about? you don't bring. You take them to cold food tomorrow? You don't take them this cold
y'all
food
was all
tomorrow?
gonna go to the same house, so
that's
I don't know
why
what
I
y'all was
was
about to
just
do.
saying.
I don't know what y'all was about to do.
I'm-
Wait a second. She didn't eat all her food. What do you?
Well, if she eat all her food.
But last time they get
If she eat all her food, the kids got leftovers. You know what I'm saying? The kids got leftovers.
I'm gonna order enough.
Y'all savage.
I'm gonna
They better, you
order
feel me?
enough
I'm
for
gonna at
me.
least.
Hey.
I'm gonna feed the baby.
I'm gonna tell you right
first
now.
time, man.
Sure.
Hey, if you don't eat everything, you better eat something that your kids like. You feel me?
Cheese sandwich
Better
and the
get
chicken
that-
tender.
Better get them chicken tenders.
Because guess what? And ain't nobody saying they hungry after this. You feel me? It was everybody eating. You got me bent. Because there's no way you came out on the date. And now, I can hear this. I can hear this. I give you this one. I go pick you up. And you say, hey, you know what? I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to feed the kids. Now, I can hop in and be like, dun, 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 dun. All right, I got you. Right. I'll take care of that for you. You feel me?
But let it be a volunteer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, by the time that we done went on a date and the check is coming and you talking about your kids need food.
That's different.
This is premeditated. This is premeditated. You on some other. You knew what you was coming to do. Like, oh no, you got me bent.
And she getting a side of clam chowder too.
Oh no,
and I can't even understand when women do that because I feel uncomfortable.
It's PTSD for me because this happened to me before.
I feel uncomfortable ordering off the menu because I'm looking at those numbers and I'm like calculating them, and then it's like you are like when the check comes. You might think that we're just like, oh yeah, you just gonna check, but I always do the like pull it out because I don't know what you got. You know what I mean? And I know I wanted to drink, so
I always pull my wallet out too.
Yeah,
if a girl invites me and she says she gonna take care of it, even if she say that, I always pull my wallet out too.
Yeah,
because I don't stick me like that. You feel me?
Hey, you know,
me washing dishes.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what I like to do sometimes too. Because I like to watch and observe people. I'll be like, hey, get anything you want off the menu. And I try to see, like, if she ordered a $50 filet mignon, I'll be like, nah.
All right.
But the one that be on the, you know, what I'm saying, she trying to find
real quick?
the thing that ain't gonna hurt my pockets. I'll be like, okay, I can see.
Can I tell you something real quick? This is just proof to show you how important Joe Budden is, because this topic started off Joe Budden podcast, and we was on there for like 10 seconds. I just wanted to let you know how important your boy is. You feel me? How important your boy is. Everybody's mind in America talks about it for like 10 seconds, and we like, oh man, who? Next time, Jack. You feel me? It don't even hold that much capacity in our minds. I just threw that out there because I was like, how did we get here? Rory, Maul, and Joe Budden relationship.
Oh, on that note, we are gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Check us out next week. Whenever you see the video, we'll be up. Thank y'all for tuning in. Catch y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Black Pew.